Hello and welcome to Height Dreams.
Welcome.
We are back again and we are up against the wall today because we're going to tackle some tough concepts, some tough ideas.
Some red bottom issues.
Right.
red bottom issues.
So we recently posted our conversation about loving your height.
Right.
What were your love letters to height? What are the things that you really enjoy about being tall? And now we want to look at the flip side of that because we're human and we know that exists.
Right.
There is always a flip side. So it's about the parts that we loathe. So
Your loathe letter.
yeah, your loathe letter. And it's a hard topic because we don't want to,
Shed light on the negative.
yeah, oftentimes we keep that in, right? And we kind of deal with that.
Mask it.
Yeah, but in recent months, we've seen so much, oh my God, had so much heartache, and also the increase in suicides,
Right.
So where does
age,
that come from? Something is going on,
Right.
in society. And our small part of doing something is to address it in relation to what we know about.
You're not alone.
Yeah, and that you're not alone, and that we are here. We experience these things too. We understand you, and we want you to feel supported, and have a place that you can come and share your thoughts on the things that you don't like about being tall.
Right. Even today. I mean, even though we mentioned what happens when we were younger, I mean, even today, I can walk out and just not be in the mood.
Right.
For the jeers or the laughs or the looks, I could just not be in the mood.
And that's true. Not a day goes by, not one single
That's
day,
right.
that we are that our height is commented upon, right? And for some, that may not be well received,
Right.
right?
And like you said, it could be that day.
Right,
You know,
right.
you could not be in the mood. Like,
Yeah.
I said this to you once before. I was like, I just want a bag of chips. I don't want you to interview me. I don't want you to ask me about my mom, my dad, what I ate, and I played basketball. I don't want to do that today. I just want to get out of this long line and go home. I don't want to be interviewed. But that's where we're different.
Yeah. And my thing is, I feel like most people look at it as a conversation starter. So they, it's easy, oh my gosh, you're so tall, So I think most people think it's commonplace, like
Right.
it's okay. And some people may receive that in a negative way based on what's going on in their mind.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or
Everything
their
starts in the
experience.
mind.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I think reaching back into our childhood years and things that may have happened back then, I think that is where you will find the triggers. Yeah? The triggers.
I think I remember Iyanla Van Zandt saying that on one of her shows. Like, you never grow from that point of that triggered pain. Like, you don't really grow. You grow up or you grow around it, but you kind of still carry it with you.
Okay. And I could definitely see that. I mean, if we were to touch on specific things that we loathe, and it could be a variety, because we're sharing, but we also encourage you to share,
with us.
some of your thoughts and experiences, just let it go. Hopefully, maybe that's the beginning of letting it go.
Or just the fact that somebody else deals with it. Because
Right.
granted, like, people will ask, people have asked, but I don't see tall people. I was like, I have plenty of 6 foot friends.
Exactly.
And
Yeah,
they're like,
exactly.
where? Who? I have plenty. I have plenty.
Exactly. Same
But,
here.
But
Yeah.
like you said, there are some days that I'm feeling myself and I'm good with it.
Right.
And then some days I'm just like, I just want to be left alone. Like, not today.
So it doesndon't bother me personally. I just typically, even if someone makes a joke, because some people do, some people will,
Yeah.
I don't know if they think it's just funny or whatever, but some people could say things that could be taken, pretty condescendingly or like really harsh and rub you the wrong way. So we're trying to put it out there to let people know that you kind of have to be a little sensitive sometimes. And like examples, could be, I know you had said something about, like, I can speak to this about feet. I have larger feet as a 6'2" woman, but I feel like I need that for stability.
You can't balance a tower on a plate.
Right, so
Just
I'm
say.
cool with it. But I will say, if I had to pick something that I loathe about my experience of being tall, it would have to be not being able to find shoes for many years to fit my feet that were growing so fast as a young girl,
Right.
and feeling like, oh my gosh, like I can't wear that cute shoe over there. I can never wear something like that, because it didn't exist, back in our day. As now there are more options, but oh my gosh, I used to dread looking for shoes,
And even back then, the shoes that fit us were hush puppy-ish.
Yeah, the styles.
Or you had to wear sneakers.
Yes, that's true.
And then even now, and it's ironic, there are shoes out there now, but I'm older and I did play sports. I don't want to wear a heel most of the time. And it's not because of my height, because I will wear a heel.
Yeah.
But it's just my knee. My knees are bad. My knees are bad. And the last thing I need to be is 6'3" and tumbling over my heels. So naturally, and so we'll even get into that, whether you wear heels.
Yeah.
And just topics.
Because some people, and to speak on that, about wearing heels, some tall women, and I've heard this firsthand, some are ashamed of their height or not comfortable with their height, so they don't wear heels, because the heels would just enhance and promote even more height. So it would draw more attention. So I've heard other tall women say, I don't feel comfortable wearing heels. And so there's a backstory to that. Why,
somebody, I was out once and I had on heels. So this shorter lady came over. I'm a lot shorter. And she was like, oh my God, you so tall with them shoes on. I took the shoe off. I said, am I short now? And she was like, you ain't got to do it. You don't have to do it. But it's the point, like, I'm probably 2 inches taller. I am still not going to be short with or without the heel.
So might as well rock the heel, right?
Rock the heel if it goes with the outfit. I mean, I'm not going to wear one every day, but if that's the way I'm feeling, let me have it.
And I think too, if we're talking about self-loathing, and I would say moments of self-loathing, because I never, and I don't feel you'd say that either, that you always are in that state of loathing something about yourself. But I think as human beings, there are moments that happen that you feel not quite right,
and
or not quite
height,
and that could be that could
that's
be any quality of being a human being. In relative to height, however, I would have to say, and I think back to growing up, a part for me that was touchy was like, because I was always the tallest, like with guys, I used to be like, I didn't feel like I was seen in that way.
You didn't get to like the guy, the it guy.
Yeah, well, I could like
I
him,
didn't care. But we attended college together, so I would be like, I still like that one.
Yeah, I mean, I still like him, but I just felt like a lot of the shorter girls would get the attention first. That was my experience. I felt like guys were let's separate that. In truth, shorter guys always approach tall women very easily. Right. But depending on your preference, and I'm not ashamed to say, I love, guys that are my height or taller. And in my experience, typically you would see these guys with women who are not as tall as us. And so growing up, that was an issue for me. I'll be honest. I used to I wouldn't say anything, but I felt it. That was one of the things where it was unspoken. It was. And I was kind of like, So I would go to a party or something and just know that I wouldn't be asked to dance by a guy.
Well, at least my partner, you won't see him. I'm dancing with somebody. Exactly. Come on, we're going
to, and we'll talk about this more in another episode, but that is actually where I got my self-confidence, because I love to dance. So after having experienced that, waiting on the side, and I know a lot of people feel that way, because it doesn't be just because you're tall. But in my experience, I knew that was a factor, for the guys who were coming up to ask. So after a while, I danced with the show. I didn't care. I wanted to dance. And actually, I started dancing by myself. That was when my self-confidence was
But see, that's what
defined
people
for me.
see. That's the problem. That's what people see is your confidence. Because when you walk in with the mentality, I know nobody want to be with me, whatever, that's what you're portraying.
Yeah.
So
That's
mentally, whatever you're putting out there, because you see women of all walks of life, you see their confidence come in first.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether you like anything about them, you see their confidence.
Yeah.
And so, you know, and you asked about that. When I had to raise a daughter, I had to be mindful of the things that I let get to me because she's tall. So some of the things that I might have carried over longer than I should have, I had to let them go and show her the beauty of it.
What would you say is something else that kind of stayed around for you, like for a long time?
What still doesn't change is like that people feel like they can walk up to you, point and laugh, things like that. I point back at you, laugh at you, but you know we're different. You know we're different.
So in your experience, do you feel a lot of people would walk up and say negative things?
They don't say it to you, but they say it around you, or like it's obvious.
I guess to your point, I've heard people say, "Oh, I'm glad I'm not that tall." Right? Yeah.
Right.
Like it's a negative, and when you say it in that respect, it's received as a negative.
Of course, it's negative.
Yeah. So
because if you turn around and mention, "I'm glad I didn't wear that red shirt," then they're offended. But what's different in the approach?
Right.
You know, the things that you say to people, and that's across any walk of life. The things that you say to people, be mindful of them because you don't know what moment. Mental health is important.
Yeah. Oh, yes, that's true.
Well, I never really had any decent mental health, but it's. I'm just kidding. But it is important. Mental health is important.
You have to take care.
In general, just be mindful of whatever you say to other people because, you know. So I don't know. My only other loathe is the clothing market.
Oh yes. How can we hesitate to mention that?
But one of mine was if you've always equated us with playing sports.
That's true.
Yet every basketball team has short sweatpants, short jackets are short in the.
That's
okay.
true.
You said you think I play basketball, but you didn't think to make the clothing tall.
Yeah, that's very true.
Or you have to wear men.
If we think about that, back in college when we played ball together, we had to get the men's version.
So it
would be long enough, or like extra large,
it's
like
gonna be really
larger
big.
than ourselves to get more length out of it. And as for shoes, pretty much always wore men's sneakers because could not find shoes that were comfortable you could fit in and play in, you know. So it was.
Well, they really didn't focus on making female shoes because they didn't feel the need. Because you have to think about it. What number were they going to factor in? You weren't able to buy women's basketball shoes back then. So how are they going to know there was a need for women's basketball shoes? We were always buying men's sneakers to play in. And even though, you know, they should have been designed. I mean, we have whole professional leagues and athletes overseas and contracted athletes. It should have been, and they do have women's shoes out now. But, you know.
Like, you definitely see the change that has happened. So there are a lot of positives that have happened. Yeah. But if we're digging deep into, you know, when there wasn't for us, you know, that's where the things start. Now, I could imagine for young girls who are tall, because that time frame usually starts happening around middle school.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I was
sixth, seventh grade. I was seventh grade.
Yeah,
it was over.
Yeah. Mine for me was between
like
6th and 7th grade.
Teacher.
It's true. I shot up. Now for me, I feel like I didn't even have time to think about not liking that I was tall because it just, first of all, my family on my dad's side are all tall. So I grew up around tall, you know, people. And that was very comfortable. But then the fact that I shot up so fast, it was like, okay, I'm here. I'm 6'2", you know? And so it was just learning how to use my body, you know, properly. But I never had a moment of not liking it. But I do hear people say that they either don't like their height or they wish, or they don't want to be tall.
But I think,
and I don't understand it. I don't understand the thinking.
But you have to think. Okay, growing up, that's your foundation. Like my mother is considered tall, so she was 5'9". She's not now. She's probably shorter. She's
Okay,
older.
okay.
She's still alive, but my mom's 5'9", which is considered tall. So she directed. That's what we said. We had a difference in growing up because my mom was considered tall and 5'9". So everything she bought, my shoes, my shirts, everything was tall.
Okay.
So she was, you're gonna wear this, you're gonna wear that, and a lot of people don't even know where the tall retail market starts. And I think it's probably right at 5'8". The clothes in the stores are probably tailored for 5'8"-ish and below. So that kind of leaves us, which the trend is now to wear the short pants, but if you grew up in the tall era, we don't like those.
We don't like that.
I want my pants to go as far.
Pants are too short.
Right. That still means the pants are too
trend,
short.
but I put that on and I'm like,
I can't
my
do
pants
it.
are too short.
I'm using my shoe to keep scooting my pants down. I
Oh,
can't
that's
do
something
that.
else we do. Put the boots on, no matter how long your pants are. That was a way to get by for many years.
My mom did not even allow it. She was like, those are too short, take them off. I didn't even get to get by with that.
To speak to that, like, I liked the fact that most people could go in the store and try something on and buy it.
Right.
We didn't have that.
Not wait 6 to 10 days.
Yeah.
So
I would, you look for what you can pass with. You look for the, oh my gosh, that looks really long moments. Like, oh my gosh, when that would happen. And I found several things that way too. I'm like, and it would be like an irregular they call it because it's so long. But
I call them tall friendly. They're like some things that you can get away with that are not labeled tall. You know, I mix pieces like that together.
Yeah. So, I mean, something I have done, I don't know if any of you have ever tried this, but if I really love something that was on the rack, I'd buy 2 of them.
Oh, no, I don't.
Yeah, and then, because I'm like,
because you like the sun.
I'm good, because, I like to make stuff and whatnot. So I'm like, I could make this work for me, just get another one and put it together. Of course, it would have to be cost effective to do, but it was a way of adapting to what you had and still feeling that you could be stylish and, and with the trends and whatnot. So I wonder if anybody ever did that, or have you ever done the tuck the pants in the boot?
No, my worst story was, I always, most of the time and I'm like 90-some% of the time, my pants are tall.
Okay.
Roughly 90+% of the time, I'm not gonna wear them unless they're tall.
And when you say that, you're saying that you're buying products that are designed for tall.
Okay. Which is preferably for me at 6'3". 34 inches and longer.
Oh, yeah, I would agree.
But this one time, I just had threw on some tights and went somewhere, and they were like, "You have to take your shoes off at the door." I was like, "I'm going home." This was the day that this was the one pair that I did not have on. I was like, "Oh."
Did you laugh at yourself?
No. I was ready to go home. I was just in the corner, was like with legs crossed and trying to do the foot scoop. I know. I was like, which one? But I'm gonna let them see the top of the bottom because right now, the one time.
Oh yeah, that would be something to know if you've ever experienced that too. Because we kind of, I guess we've had to figure it out as we go sometimes, and make it work. And like I love wearing like mini dresses, but sometimes it's like a micro mini that you can't bend over in or whatever, it's particularly being so tall. And you want to show your legs, but
but not everything else.
Exactly.
So where you get that shirt from?
Now
Like, this is
and honestly, when I go in the store and I see something I like, I'm like, oh, this could be a top.
That's it. A top.
Yeah, I mean, it's positioned as a dress, but I'm like, hey, I can rock this as a top, with some jeans or whatever. So that was another way of getting by.
But some of them are always stealing plus size tops because I want the sleeves to be longer.
Oh, okay. So having to go
larger. I'll go larger, but if you look at where they line up sometimes.
That's how you can tell the fit.
You can tell it's not supposed to, but I make that work.
Yeah.